Gary Clark, welcome.
How's it going, mate?
I'm alright. How are you?
I am very well, mate. I am happy to be here.
Well, yes, you are happy to hear because here we're talking about FIFA 16 versus PES 2016. Uh, it's the age-old battle, the other games, and we're here to do a little kind of versus video, just comparing each aspect of the game, just to give you kind of a rundown of how we're doing it. We're doing it section by section, so we're doing visuals, audio, modes, online, and last of all, most importantly, gameplay. And we're doing it out of 100, so obviously gameplay should be always the most important thing. So we're giving that 60 marks out of 100, and all the other areas are getting 10. Kind of a fairly weighted across the board for the rest of the 4 areas. But we will talk about it and kind of justify why which game we're favoring in each area. So without further ado, let's get into it. And we're going to start with the visuals, Gary. We're going to start. Let's talk about FIFA visually. What are your thoughts?
Visually, this is a strange one because from a sort of gameplay cam, I find FIFA very, very nice to look at. It's very sharp, very detailed. You sort of notice little sort of visual sort of not effects. That's probably the wrong word to use, but sort of the nice little touches. That's the one. And from sort of first glance, you would imagine if you were just walking past a screen that wow, that looks like a real game.
Like watching Sky Sports, isn't it? Essentially,
it's got that. It's got that sort of Sky Sports presentation, and like I say, it's visually very sharp.
It's vibrant as well.
Nice. Vibrant.
Yeah,
it's got great lighting, and it's just pleasing on the eye to look at. But then the opposite thing with FIFA, I find, is when you sort of go up close with a game, like the replays, etc., and sort of the cut scenes as such, it just loses that sort of graphical sheen.
It looks a bit bland when you go into closer, doesn't it?
Yeah, like some of the sort of player faces look a bit off. There's like the visual textures on like the shirts and the sort of
the stretchy shirts
kits generally. It just doesn't look right. Even sometimes like the grass looks a bit odd.
It's like waxed grass, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of like the AstroTurf sort of grass. But from sort of gameplay cam, it looks really, really nice. But I find the further you sort of zoom in with it, the sort of worse it gets. So yeah, it's sort of one of them sort of situations. It looks good from normal cam, up close, not so good.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think in gameplay it looks detailed and sharp, and obviously detailed and sharp in the respect of that the level of detail is balanced nicely. Obviously the players' faces aren't going to be that detailed from that distance, but they balance it nicely. They scale it nicely, so gameplay cam looks quite nice, looks quite vibrant, and it's got, as you mentioned, that broadcast feel to it. The stadiums look nice as well. You see some of the crowd as well. 3D crowd obviously is great. That helps kind of build the atmosphere in the stadium, makes it like a match day feel. Player models, I think are improved from the last couple of years. They don't look like WWE stars anymore. Don't look like it's Hulk Hogan or anything like that. Although he's kind of not in WWE anymore, is he?
Yeah, don't mention him.
Don't mention that. I'll get a lawsuit now. So they don't look like a WWE stars anymore. They're a bit scaled in terms of how they look like in real life. But still, I think they could be improved. Like some players still look like they've been on steroids.
Yeah, definitely. Player
faces are scanned, so some look really, really good, whereas some don't look as great. Like I've like most of my time spent with FIFA has been playing with Man United, and Martial and Depay look nothing apart from obviously their skin color. They look nothing like they actually do in real life. So you got two ends of the spectrum really in terms of FIFA. Like players like Rooney look pretty good, Mata looks good, And then like even if you go across the board, like Messi looks good. Obviously, he's a cover star, whereas
Yeah.
Ronaldo looks a bit off. You know,
Mm.
so it's kind of hit and miss. What do you think about that? Do you agree?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. FIFA, I find has always had issues with like the player faces. They are improved from like you said from before, but there's still some. Some look really, really good,
Yeah.
like stunningly good. But then you sort of have a look at someone else, just not so much a superstar as such, just sort of
Yeah.
like a squad player as such,
Yeah.
and you think,
Say if you focus on Everton, I guess.
yeah,
Seamus Coleman, like so some of the Everton players actually do half decent. I'll be honest, but then like
yeah,
some of the, you know, other players like I've kind of pointed out Coleman there doesn't not a great likeness. Uh,
yes,
yeah, so I know what
yes.
I know.
Yeah, some of them sort of you think, really, is what are they thinking? It
Yeah,
just doesn't look nothing like the player should look. So yeah, it's an improvement.
yeah,
But like you say, I think they still need to improve it a lot because it's like 2015 now, guys. Come on, it should be
yeah,
like when you compare it to something like NBA 2K,
yeah.
it's just like it blows that out the water. So yeah,
Mm.
good. A good improvement, but still not good enough in my opinion.
Yeah. No, no, I agree. I agree. Um, so let's talk about menus and stuff as well. I guess.
Mm.
Uh, FIFA's menus pretty good, pretty
Yep.
functional. Look nice. Got that nice tiled, slick look. Um, do you like them?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really, really like in FIFA 16 is the menu sort of style and the modern look. They're very easy to use as well, I find, because in
Yeah.
previous FIFAs I found them a bit sort of like you have
Sluggish.
to, yeah, sluggish, and you have to click so many times to finally get where you want to get.
Yeah.
But these seem, yeah, really responsive,
Yeah.
easy to navigate. So yeah, props to EA for the menu system because I think it's really, really nice this year.
And special mention to like the formation screen as well. Looks really
Oh,
nice.
that's yeah. I really, really. That is a
Yeah.
massive, massive positive for me. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very easy to do and stuff. And we kind of didn't mention the weather effects as well. They got snow, rain, all that sort of stuff. And it looks really nice. It
Yep.
does affect the frame rate sometimes,
Mm.
but
Yeah,
on
you
the
get
whole,
drops now and then. Yeah.
yeah, but on the whole, it it does the job. It does it pretty well.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's go to PES then. So PES visually, um, I think probably kind of a similar thing. It's mixed, as it looks amazing close up,
Yeah.
almost. I'm not gonna say completely, but almost bordering on NBA 2K 16 levels at times.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like you got gameplay cam, and it's not the same, Gary.
Oh yeah. It's like the complete opposite to FIFA
Yeah,
because FIFA looks really nice gameplay. Up close, it looks a bit ropey, but with PES, it's the opposite. So yeah, like you say, up close, it looks really, really nice. Very like detailed, really sort of sharp. But then when you pull away into gameplay cam, it just loses that sort of fidelity. And it just, yeah, I don't know. Like, is it it can't be the Fox engine, I wouldn't imagine, because
it's supposed to
some of the
scale.
stuff.
Yeah, it's supposed to scale quite nicely the Fox engine. So maybe it's the PES team still getting used to aspects of it. I guess.
Yeah, I just find I'm really, really shocked if it is the Fox engine
Mm,
because, well, we've seen what that can do. I know
yeah,
PES is different to MGS, but
yeah.
we've seen the potential that can be had with that engine.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, it still looks nice in gameplay cam, but it just not as nice as I would like it to look.
It's the exact opposite of FIFA, right?
Exactly,
It
yeah.
looks vibrant, close up, detailed as well. But when you go into gameplay, and it loses that vibrancy, and there's that certain visual, I guess, touch, like you mentioned with FIFA. Yeah, it just feels and looks less vibrant, and it
Mm,
just because close up it just looks so good. Or like I said, not I'm not gonna NBA is on a different level, but almost at times kind of like the detail, the sweat, the skin textures, which is something we know that Fox Engine is good at doing. It's there, but when you zoom out, it's just like that. It loses a bit of that visual
yeah.
flair, so to speak. Okay. So in other areas, so player faces. I think it's kind of again like FIFA's a mixed bag. They don't. The only player they've scanned is Neymar, who's the cover star. Looks sensational.
Phenomenal, yeah.
And then some of the ones they model look absolutely amazing as well.
Mm.
Great detail, but then you got some that look weird, and then some that look nothing like. Like for instance, Juan Mata looks like a very dirty Spanish hobo. Like the way they've done it, he looks totally weird. It's like his face is disjointed at some parts almost.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, the player faces are really good. This is not me
Yeah.
saying player faces is shit, but yeah, it's a mixed bag. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, obviously, PES, for the most part, use their own sort of modeling
Yeah.
of way of doing it themselves manually. And some of the faces they've created are phenomenal. Like, I play as Arsenal a lot. Well, North London in PES.
Hey.
And like some of the faces, like Sanchez looks really good. Coquelin looks exceptional. Like really, really good. But then it's a mixed bag again because Mertesacker, he does look like him, but there's still something not quite right with it. I don't know if it's the width of his head or something just doesn't. It looks slightly off. But you can tell who it is. But
of course.
it still needs that little tweak to make it perfect. But yeah, so it's a bit like FIFA. It's a mixed bag. But yeah, considering that they do these manually, yeah, it's just great effort to be fair.
No, I agree. And player models, I think they're a lot better than FIFA's. They scale nicely. There's no WWE feel to them or look to them. So that's really good. One thing I was gonna mention, like the kits and stuff you mentioned with the FIFA. Obviously, I think the kits look really nice in PES, especially the edit mode stuff like you got with PES Universe and PES World. Glenn doing all these kits, they look amazing. They look amazing. So yeah, it might not have all the licenses, but the work the community does to make the kits look even better than FIFA's, and even better than some of the ones the like the PES team does. It's great. It's great to have menus and stuff. Again, staying on visuals, menus and stuff. They're okay, functional.
Yep. Yeah. I
But
would
FIFA's
say
probably
they're.
slightly better.
Yeah, I would say FIFA's are better. They're like you say, they're functional. They are responsive, but there's nothing sort of amazing about them as such. So they work essentially.
Okay, cool. So I guess we covered all the whole visual aspect there. So we're giving 10 points for visuals, and who for you, Gary, gets the nod for visuals? I think it's a close one.
It is a close one, yeah, because both have got sort of positives and negatives. But if I had to go for one, I would probably just give it to FIFA 16.
Yeah, I agree. So we're in agreement there. Just give it to FIFA 16. So that's the first 10 points out of the 100 for visuals go to FIFA 16.
Yep.
So next up is audio. So that will mainly include the commentary. FIFA 16 we'll start with again. So we have Martin Tyler, Alan Smith, and Clive Tilsley for some other games, I think cup games and stuff like that. So what do you think, Gary? FIFA 16, the commentary.
Yeah, on sort of generally really, really good. Like they've been doing it for a very long time, so you can sort of feel that sort of chemistry between like Alan Smith and Matt Tyler, and they do sort of commentate on certain aspects throughout the season and stuff like that. And just generally, it just sounds really, really good. And I presume that they record together, right?
Yeah, they do. They do some behind the scenes videos like for the release, and you show them doing it together. So obviously they kind of feed off each other's energy, which you can tell. It seems like the commentary, as far as I know, they've been working on like this stitching technology, if you want to call it, for a few years now, and it seems like they've pretty much perfected it in terms of making the commentary sound natural. You'll get a few things that are repeated. That's natural if you play the game for a long time. But for the most part, it's a pretty natural, sound to the commentary.
Yeah, and it's got that broadcast feel because obviously those two guys work together at
Yeah,
Sky
you work at
Sports,
Sky.
so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they know each other, sort of thing. So yeah, generally, yeah, like I say, I have had a few instances at the start of games where Martin Tyler repeats himself, but um, you can sort of see past that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And they've got those nice little touches if you've been playing like career mode and stuff, where they'll talk about new signings and first game
yeah,
debut and playing against an old club and all that sort of stuff. They'll bring that, which is really nice.
yeah, it's a nice little touch. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, staying with the audio on FIFA 16, like the match atmosphere as well. I think that's pretty good as well in FIFA 16. I'll be honest. They kind of get the crowd, you know, the sounds in tune with the action on the pitch. So I mean they've got chants and stuff as well. So yeah, I think that's done pretty well in FIFA 16. But yeah, let's talk about PES. So PES commentary, we've got Jim Begley returning, and then we've got a new addition as the main commentator, Peter Drury. What do you think about that?
It's a weird one because you can tell straight from the off that these guys did not record together.
Yeah.
It sounds better. I've got to give Konami props for that because it is a lot better from any other year since the year dot.
That's mainly because of Peter Drury, right? He seems to
be. He's got that energy.
Enthusiastic.
Really has that energy. Yeah, very enthusiastic. But then the other scale of the spectrum, like, it just doesn't work together.
Yeah.
Because it just you can.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
It's hard to explain, but one's
chemistry.
like ridiculous. Yeah, the chemistry. One's ridiculously enthusiastic, and the other is just like you can sort of tell he's reading it off a script.
You can tell they haven't recorded together, right? I think that's the thing. And I think I spoke to Jim on one of our podcasts, WNB podcast, and he kind of mentioned that he would like to record together. Just hasn't happened. This is the first year they've been on the commentary together. So hopefully next year they'll be recording together. But we can only judge on what we've been playing and hearing with 2016.
Yeah, it needs to happen, I think, in 2017 because it's definitely a big improvement and it's getting there. Because there are some moments I think, wow, that's really cool, but then other times it's just like, that just sounds a bit off. And I've noticed as well with the commentary, sometimes like when he sort of shouts a name after a shot,
I know what you mean,
can be delayed. So like the shot happen and then he sort of shouts out like
that happened in a few of our videos that we kind of captured before the game's release, and people were like, "Oh, the commentary's delayed." I was like, "No, it's not. It's like people thought the capture messed up, but it didn't. It's actually the commentary. There is a slight delay, but on the whole, improvement, and I think the crowd atmosphere. Just to touch upon that before we wrap up it's pretty good. They've got some good chants, and the crowd reacts pretty well to what's going on the pitch as well. But yeah, overall, I think improvement. But for me, if I was to pick a winner and give the 10 points for audio, I'd give it to FIFA 16.
Yeah, I agree with that
totally. So that's another 10 points this time for audio to FIFA 16. So next up, we'll talk about online. A huge part of any sports game, nowadays. So online, we'll start with FIFA 16. I've played a bit. I think you've played a bit as well. And online seems pretty good. I mean, a lot of people. I think it's just because the huge amount of people that play FIFA 16, and people are always more likely to moan if something goes wrong rather than it's right. I think 95% of the time, FIFA's stability online is very good. It kind of mirrors what you play offline. It's got that same feel, and they do it well, and they there's no real lag or input lag or anything like that I've experienced since I've been playing it. How about you? What do you think about the online side of things for FIFA?
Yeah, generally on FIFA 16, I've had no issues. Like, I'm going to be totally honest, I've not played like hundreds of games online,
Yeah.
but I've played enough to sort of have my judgment on it.
Yeah.
And I've had hardly any sort of issues like connecting. I know you will get server issues when the game first launches because just everyone
Yeah.
is absolutely battering it. But
Yeah.
for me personally, I've not experienced it, so I can't say that.
Oh, neither have I.
Yeah,
Neither
it's
have I.
bad online. So
I've had no disconnects or anything like that. No lag in any match so far. I played quite a bit. Very, very impressed with the online side of things. It's
yeah,
like I said, it mirrors the offline side of things quite nicely, which is good. It's always a good thing. So that's good for FIFA. PES 2016, the online side of things. So this is mixed again. The system they use for PES is not server based, as far as I know. So it's not going to be as stable as FIFA's, and that is clear to see. Sometimes you'll get a match with no lag, other times you'll get a match with some lag, and other times you'll get a match with horrendous lag. And it's just kind of a potluck sometimes, well, most of the times, in terms of what experience you get. And that's on my club or kind of wherever I'm playing online. I've tried different modes to see if the online stability improves in any of them, but it's pretty much the same. It's kind of potluck. I think they eventually should move to server base if they want to keep the stability or just improve the netcode a bit. It's I don't know what's been happening. It's just like since the last game that I played of PES was PES 6 on the Xbox 360. That was stable online after a few early issues on launch. It was really stable online. I played that a lot online.
That was really stable compared to the rest for sure.
Yeah, and ever since then they've been having trouble to. I don't know what they've done or what's changed. But it's I mean, what do you think of the online in PES?
Oh, I've had some okay moments with it and some like horrific moments. Like the first sort of couple of games I remember playing, they were fine. Little sort of connection issues here and there, but mainly fine. But then I've had like a couple of games where it's just literally been unplayable. So I don't know why it's like that because, well, I do know why it's like that. It's obviously not coded right, but like my internet, I've got a strong internet connection, so I never have any issue with other sort of games online. So it's obviously not my internet connection. But yeah, it's just weird how it can go from being really good experience and then within like half an hour to an hour later, it's like you're playing something completely different. So yeah, it's very hit and miss for me online PES this year.
Pretty much the same. I think the key thing is that it doesn't online you shouldn't be able to differentiate between that and the offline experience.
Yeah, that's very true.
With PES you can. With PES 2016 you can, and that in itself isn't great. When someone can say that. So okay, we're giving another 10 points for online. I think it's pretty clear where we both are going to side with FIFA 16.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, you cannot give it to PES at this stage, I'm afraid.
Yep. So that's another 10 points. That's 30 points out of 100 so far to FIFA 16. So far it's won all three categories. So yeah, that's points for online to FIFA 16. Next, we have modes. So we'll start with FIFA 16, and as usual, EA Sports have jam-packed a FIFA game with modes.
They've got a plethora of modes.
Yeah, so there's stuff. If you enjoy the gameplay, there's a lot to keep you busy. I mean, gameplay we'll talk about as a last point. We're just talking about purely modes here. So, I mean, the main addition, or the main sort of tweaks and stuff they made are to career mode. They've added the training for players now, which is a great addition, I think. And they've got also the pre-season competitions as well, where you can earn money, by traveling to, I don't know, America or South America, wherever, or to like Saudi Arabia, whatever you can choose. But you get money depending on where you go, and it gives you more for your transfer budget, which is good. It adds a bit more. It has a bit more meaning to these competitions, and And then you go into the season, and career modes pretty much remain the same, apart from the training stuff added on. You can train promising young players, and they'll develop a bit more quicker than kind of the more established players, obviously, who are kind of at the peak of their powers. They don't really need to develop that much, but you'll still improve them here and there. But I mean, like the example I use, I was training up the likes of Depay, Smalling, Martial, McNair, Wilson, and I saw improvements over them over a period of time. It's not unrealistic in the way it's done, so it's quite nice.
Yeah.
And you can either do the drills yourself, which basically translates to the skill games, or you can just choose to simulate them, which is really nice. So career mode, I know you're a big fan of career mode as well. You like how it's set up, right?
Definitely, yeah. Like what I really like about career mode is the depth it has. It's like got like if you're really into sort of that side of FIFA, there's a lot there to sort of get involved in. The realistic sort of transfers that happen throughout, like your career mode experience, the realistic sort of transfer budgets you have as well. Obviously, if you're like a big team as such like Barcelona or Real Madrid, you're going to get a lot more money to spend, and realistically, sort of amounts as well compared to.
You can even ask for more transfer budget as well from your
Yeah.
board. Like you won't always be successful, and the way you got different tiers to like negotiating transfers as well. You're first with the club, then with the player. I think that's really good.
Yeah, it's really cool. But then if you're say like a team from like the English Championship or something, you've got to sort of work with a lower budget. So you've got to sort of search around for players of the sort of similar sort of skill level in the same leagues. So yeah, it's really, really cool, like that sort of side of things. Just generally, it's just a great mode to get involved in. If you love FIFA. So
I mean, as you mentioned, it's got that bit of depth and realism, I think, to it. Almost kind of making you feel like a football manager type thing, almost outside of actually playing the game.
Yeah.
Obviously not as in depth as that, but yeah, it's kind of got that feel to it, which is good. It makes you feel like you're managing a club. Aside from that, modes wise, you've got the Ultimate Team, which is still huge. I mean, no matter what you think of it, it's still a massive part of FIFA. Like most people buy FIFA just to play that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's still what you'd expect from Ultimate Team. There's a few sort of improvements here or there. They've got the FUT draft mode, where you can kind of like dip into Ultimate Team if you're kind of too scared, quotation marks, of like going into Ultimate Team full on. You can kind of dip in quickly and get easier access to the top players. I mean, that's an option. You can do that.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Ultimate Team's a bit unbalanced, but the mode is still there. Millions of people enjoy it. It does well, and we're just talking about the mode itself. People really enjoy it. I know you're this. We've talked about it quite a bit. Like you're of the same opinion. Like you don't really get into Ultimate Team.
Yeah, I tried it years ago, and I just couldn't really sort of get into it as such. But I did when I sort of had early access to FIFA 16 through EA Access on the Xbox One. I tried out FUT Draft, and I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
But it's not the sort of thing I could imagine me sitting down and like being my sort of main sort of mode to play, to be honest. It's good just to try it out, for me personally, but I can understand why people do get like ridiculously engrossed in it, because I can
that kind of like Premier League sticker pack type feel.
Yeah, right? It's got that pull as well, where it sort of pulls you in. So
you want to get those shinies, those red players.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and EA, where they obviously make an absolute shit ton of money off it, so they're always going to sort of support it. So it's there. If you're into it, it's a good mode. Yeah.
Okay. I know one mode that you really like is the kind of the first one in a football game, the women's football stuff.
Oh, really, really good.
Go on. What do you think?
It really shocked me because obviously there's not a great amount of teams. Is it 10, I believe, or 12?
Yeah, and it's just like you can do friendlies and tournaments.
Like
you can play with them online.
A generic cup is where you can do. It just the gameplay side of it with women's football just feels really, really good. It's really, really good fun. So yeah, I'm hoping like in FIFA 17 they add like club teams, because there's a lot of good women's club teams about.
Yeah, the English Women's League is pretty. It's got some pretty strong teams.
So yeah, that was really, really cool, I found.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. That's it's much more interesting and fun than I thought it would be.
Mm.
And yeah, they've got apart from that, they've got the usual stuff in there. You know, you got the pro clubs and stuff, which again a lot of people are into.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got you can play exhibition stuff as well, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do, a lot
Mm.
of stuff to do. Okay, so let's talk about PES 2016 in terms of modes. Again, the kind of the main tweak and changes have come to like the main offline mode, which is Master League.
Mm.
Last year it was very much bare bones. This year it's not a huge improvement, but it is an improvement. They've improved the menus, so they've kind of obviously taken a hint from career mode in how they laid that out. You get little stories emerging as well, like you do with FIFA, like players coming to you, saying stuff, and little stories emerging throughout the season. That's nice.
Mm.
The transfer system is improved. There's no more stupid smiley faces to do the transfers. There's still only one layer of doing the transfer. You can well, it's not really negotiating. You're just checking boxes in terms of and then you get a percentage telling you like what chances are. It's not really a
Yeah.
realistic way of doing it, but it's better than what they had previously. You've got the kind of addition of star players bringing you extra money throughout the season in merchandise when you're playing at home. So different players will be tagged with like different like star player, grand maestro, or like prospect, all that sort of stuff. And the star players will bring you more money on match day. Like for instance, playing United, Schweinsteiger will bring in shirt sales.
Yeah.
Shirt sales. So if you sign a star player, he'll bring in extra shirt sales as well. All that sort of stuff is nice. It adds to the experience. And yeah, it's just it's much better than last year. Probably something you could see yourself playing once they finally update the rosters, which
Yeah.
be on October the 29th. That is a huge own goal, really. I think in terms of the squad updates hindering you starting like a Master League properly. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I've not even touched Master League, to be honest, because of that reason.
Yeah.
I just don't want to start it and then sort of have to deal with all the sort of players out of in the wrong clubs, and I
Yeah.
just like that's why I'm waiting. But yeah, this year Master League, it's this weird one because, like you say, it's definitely improved from previous years. But my biggest problem with it is only slight improvements. It's not like a massive. I think the mode needs a big overhaul, to be honest. It's nice little touches they've added this year, but if I'm totally honest, I think if they started that from the ground up, that could be like really special, because Master League is a massive mode for PES. Everyone obsessed with it. So yeah, improvements this year, but I'm hoping for 2017 there's a sort of a bigger sort of change in how they go forward with the mode.
Okay, fair play. Then you've got kind of the offering from Konami, which is people see as the alternate to Ultimate Team. You got My Club, which is introduced last year. It's present again this year. They've made some tweaks to it in terms of the menu system. It's making it a bit more user friendly, and the way the players are displayed on screen and stuff like that in terms of your squad, your formation screen. And they've had like a leveling up feature where so the more you use a player, the more he'll level up and the better he'll become.
Okay.
It's kind of an incentive to not go out and look for those those players through those top agents. It's kind of like making you stick with the players you have and improving your squad, improving the team spirit overall, and all that sort of stuff. I think I think the mode is more balanced than Ultimate Team because it's a bit more random in terms of because you basically sign players through agents.
Yeah.
These agents, depending on what they are, like you get special agents throughout the year. Some give you like the UEFA Team of the Year. Like currently, they've got the Euro 2016 agents at the moment, giving you some access to the top players. But you got gold balls and black balls with the top players. You've got less of a chance of getting top players. But once you get them, it feels like an event. Like you've got that top player now.
Yeah.
And it kind of changes as soon as you get that top player. It changes your team, which I think is much better than Ultimate Team because like it's just so skewed. Only like the players from Madrid and Barca and Bayern kind of make a impact.
You're right. Yeah.
And the transfer market kind of messes with it as well. Like it's so skewed. This is more balanced, and plus, even if you get some of the top players in PES, you have to make sure your manager has like the skill to manage them. So again, it kind of, it's a bit more balanced and ties in nicely. I think it's a good mode. And again, I know you're not hugely into these type of modes, but what do you think from what you've seen on the outside of my club?
Yeah, I'll be totally honest. I'm not into it at all. But from what I've heard from you and various other people's, it's a really really cool mode. And I think that over the sort of next sort of couple of years, they could really really hit the home run with this.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people playing it. I was surprised at how many people do.
Oh, it makes a lot of money. It makes a lot of money for Konami.
Yeah. And I totally agree with like the balance inside of it. It just feels better on my club than it does on FUT. Whether or not that'll change in the future, who knows? But I hope that Konami stick to the same sort of model they got at the moment.
Yeah, I hope so.
People seem to be happy with it. Well, majority of people seem to be happy with it. But yeah, it seems like a very good mode. I will check it out at some point, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then apart from that, you got the usual stuff. You got the Champions League, they've got the license still. You got Euro 2016 coming. That's probably DLC. You've got the Copa Sudamerica, all that sort of stuff. You got the South trophies, Asian Champions League.
Become a legend as well.
Yeah, become a legend, which is pretty much the same as last year.
Yeah.
You still got that variety of modes there. And obviously we mentioned kind of earlier, you've got the edit mode stuff as well, which is not obviously a mode per se, but you can use that to edit the game with the kits and stuff and whatnot. So yeah, you've got a variety of different options there as well. It's a tough one, this one as well. But I mean, I'll start with you. I mean, where would you give the 10 points for modes?
Yeah, it is a tough one, because I like modes from both. But if I was looking as
purely modes,
purely modes, and I was looking as an outsider, someone who was new to both. Looking at both, I would probably have to give it to FIFA 16 just because of the amount of variation in modes you've got. So yeah, that was a tight one, but I will give it to FIFA. I think
I would have to agree. I would have to agree. Just because of career mode, and the other, like I think career mode and women's football probably swings it.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, the fourth set of 10 points goes to the modes, and it goes to FIFA 16. So that's 40 out of 40 so far. Out of the overall 100 goes to FIFA 16. So far it's doing well. So yeah, for modes, 10 points go to FIFA 16. And finally, we will talk about the big one, the one that matters, the one that's, it's gonna eventually decide which game you'll be playing the most, gameplay. So let's start with FIFA 16. We've got mixed thoughts. So we basically, I mean, I first played it just before E3, and I thought it had the potential to be amazing, the best FIFA. Quite possibly the best football game as well. It was really nicely balanced. You felt like you could play a nice passing game of football. Even when I played against the AI, it felt like I had space to move the ball around. The AI was dynamic enough to play, as a team would, like Barcelona would, or Stoke would, or Everton would, whatever. I felt, this is really really good. And then even when we played it at E3 and Gamescom, still showed those good signs. Then it comes to the final game, and huge disappointment overall. I mean, okay, so I'll predicate this by saying, playing it multiplayer, human versus human, it plays well. It's a fun game of football. But when you're playing against the AI, because the main changes they've made to balance what was a very much an unbalanced game with FIFA 15 towards pace, and there was it was easy to kind of bypass the midfield and get through just purely on pace and through balls and score. With this, they balanced it by improving the defensive AI, tried to balance it by improving the defensive AI, which works well. It will track back nicely, intelligently, all that sort of stuff. When you're playing against human, you'll notice it more. Against the AI, you'll notice it as well, but it's a lot more rigid when you're playing against the AI.
Mm.
especially on the higher difficulties, world class and legendary. They almost sit in two banks of four, making it very difficult for you to get any space on the pitch. And the FIFA's pitch is, when you compare it to PES, it's pretty small anyway.
Yeah.
So you feel like you have very little space to move the ball around, and all you're doing is pretty much passing the ball backwards and sideways, which is something I hate. And it's just it's frustrating. It's frustrating because the only real tactic you can use then is to cross the ball in the box, and the crossing is great. Don't get me wrong. I like the addition of the dynamic crossing. It's great.
Yeah.
But shouldn't
That's
be your
not how
go-to thing.
football. Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be
Yeah.
your go-to thing. Like, you shouldn't be able to play. And yeah, the passing side of the game is better because you have to pass the ball now because there's, the midfield and the defense kind of track back and block that space off. But it's just so rigid against the AI. It just becomes a frustrating and unrealistic experience. Like, whether you're playing, it doesn't matter what team you're playing, it will happen. This will happen. And they've tried to make it obviously realistic, which is fine, but they forgot the balance that needs to be there, and they've almost forgot to tweak it when you're playing against AI, because it's fine when you're playing against humans, because humans will drag players out of position and you'll gain that space.
Yeah, exactly.
It will happen naturally, but the AI will stick to routines, right?
Yeah.
And they stick to routines so rigidly here. It's like like I said, it's almost like they forgot to balance it when you're playing against the AI on the higher difficulties, and it just makes for a frustrating experience.
Yeah.
So frustrating. What do you think?
Yeah. Like, I sort of go back a bit. Like, my first sort of time with FIFA was FIFA 16 was at E3. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. Same with Gamescom when I played it. Again, thought it was great. Even the demo, I thought, oh wow, this is very, very good. But they've done something after that just like affected the game completely the wrong direction for me.
And it's something a lot of people have talked about. Like I've spoken to other people from the likes of videogamer.com, Brett, who's left Video Gamer now, but he was at the event that I was before E3, and he was really excited by it. And then people have said the same. Like, they've tweaked it a bit. They've done what they usually do, and like tweaked it a bit too much, and kind of gone completely the other way.
Yeah, they do that every year as well. It's just like, haven't they learned their lesson by now?
They almost got there with FIFA 14. It's something that we both played a lot, and it's probably the best FIFA of recent times.
Definitely,
And that was a great base on the next gen, on now current gen consoles to work from moving forward. And it's like 15 went, too much bias towards the attack and pace, and this has gone completely the other way against the AI. I should again say that when you're playing against humans, it's actually quite fun. So I played it online quite a bit, and it's fun because, like I said, naturally humans will like kind of pull players out of position and control, move,
make mistakes.
Yeah, make mistakes, and but the AI is just so rigid. It's so sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's one thing I noticed with like the AI, like the sort of the back four will stay like in a solid line. Same in the midfield, so it's hard to sort of create them sort of openings.
No, I agree.
And it just, oh my god! Like, I remember I was playing, I was Arsenal, and I was playing, I think it was Bolton, and they were passing the ball around like they were like the Harlem Globetrotters. It's just like, my god, it's just so unrealistic. And as soon as I got the ball, this is on higher sort of difficulty, by the way. As soon as I got the ball, I just couldn't do anything with it. It was just like I had to, like, one of FIFA's like old issues was back in like the sort of PS2 days, was like you had to score most of your goals. You had to sort of rely on going down a wing and crossing, and it seems to have gone back to that. Obviously, you can still do what you're sort of setting out to do with passing in the middle, but it's very, very restricted now in FIFA 16.
And the pitch is small as it is.
Oh
so
my god!
It just highlights that fact.
Yeah. In the end, it become like playing it. It just become like a chore to play it. It just didn't feel fun to play it.
And people will say, like, in the comments to us, people will say, "Oh, you're not playing it properly. You're not giving the time." I put like 40, 50 hours into it, like, before I reviewed it.
We've been playing FIFA for a long time.
We're not noobs. You know what I mean? Like, we know. Like, I like to think we know football. Like, we know football games, and I was genuinely disappointed by the final product. Genuinely disappointed. It's not a case of that.
We're not the only ones that think this.
No. It's got mixed reviews this year. Like, some people obviously are enjoying it, and more power to you if you're enjoying the gameplay as it is. Maybe you're not playing on the high difficulties. Maybe you are playing on the high difficulties, and you enjoy, having to pass the ball around and being frustrated. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just completely better than us. I don't know, but I've tried to play football with it, which is what you should do. I mean, football in itself is a pretty simple game. It shouldn't be complicated.
Exactly.
And I think FIFA does that, and it's like, I mean, it's just frustrating experience. It's so frustrating, and it's so disappointing ultimately as well. People will think
Yeah,
like, oh, you're biased towards PES, you take pleasure in all that sort of stuff. I don't. I genuinely want both football games to play very well, so they can challenge each other and push
Yeah.
each other to do better.
Yeah, because if they're both doing well, then they both push themselves to make a better game for both.
Exactly.
So,
Whereas, I don't know, maybe EA have got to a point. I mean, we don't we don't know them like friends or anything like that, but we talk to the EA developers like pretty much every year when we go to these events. We like Nick Shannon. And a few other guys as well, like Sebastian. Like we talk to these guys, and we give honest thoughts to them, and we would totally respect what they do. But it's just disappointing. And like when we speak to them next year before FIFA 17, I'm sure we will. We'll kind of give our feedback. Well, hopefully they're taking our feedback on from reviews and stuff, and even hopefully watch this or listen to this. Just disappointed. I really wanted to enjoy it. I put 40, 50 hours into it before I got to a point in career where I was like, this is frustrating. This is not. There needs to be a balance. Like there's a fine line between realism and frustration in a game. At the end of the game needs to have that balance of fun and realism, especially a sports game, which I think is something that NBA does really well. NBA 2K16, it kind of replicates the sport well, but still has that element of fun as well at the same time.
definitely.
So yeah, overall, I mean, there are some nice touches. Like you got the no-touch dribbling, which is seems like that's the only way. Well, one of the main ways to beat a player, because dribbling is also frustrating this year as well. Like it seems
Very
like
much so, yeah.
it seems like the players almost take a touch or two extra when you don't want them to. It's almost over animated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of my issues with it. It does at times feel like it's over animated.
And in turn it becomes unresponsive when it probably actually isn't. But it's just that combination of things makes it feel like it is.
Yeah. It's a disappointing one this year for FIFA.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
Frustrating experience. But yeah, okay, let's talk about PES. I think this is where PES shines. Gameplay. I mean, all the other areas we probably someone that's just gone to FIFA, but PES and the gameplay stakes. It's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. It has its issues as well, which we'll talk about. But on the whole, it gets that balance which we're talking about just there between fun and realism.
Yeah.
Pretty much spot on. Like you feel like you can play a free, open, dynamic game of football. Every game will be different to another, and like the star players will kind of play like themselves, which I still don't think FIFA gets right yet. I mean, there's only one or two attributes that kind of shine between the two different players, Whereas PES, you instantly, when you switch from player to player, you feel the difference, and you see the difference as well, and that translates onto the team styles as well. Teams will play when you're playing Master League. When I was doing it for review, when I was playing through my Master League, when you go away to City or whatever, you feel like you're under the cosh. When you're away to Stoke or Everton, like places that are notoriously tough to go to, you feel like you're having to break them down. Not frustratingly so, like FIFA, but you're feeling you have to.
You have to work hard.
You have to work hard for it, yeah. But you always feel like there is a way to do it. Whereas with FIFA, you don't.
Yeah.
And the different, it's just it plays a nice passing game of football. Passing, I mean, ball physics could probably be improved a little bit. Still, I think they're improved from last year. I still think they could probably be a bit more realistic and a bit more variation. Crossing is better now as well. Keepers about, and a lot of people saying keepers are rubbish. I still don't get this.
No, I don't understand it.
Online, I agree. The keepers, because they're set to a regular, they to superstar. But people are saying, oh, every time you go through a goal, it's a goal. I haven't had that. I honestly haven't had that. And people are saying superstars too easy. No, I haven't had that either. I was like, I don't understand. I've been battered when I've been playing like Champions League or whatnot at the moment because I'm not playing Master League yet in my full retail copy. But when I played it for review, there was times I was getting completely battered. But like I remember I went to City away and got battered 4-1. I was torn apart by Silva and Aguero. I was just completely bossed. And like you feel like you have to change the way you play to when you go away to like City or Barcelona or Madrid, like these top teams. Even when you
'cause
are,
you know they're going to have a lot of possession. They're
of
going to
course.
create.
So you have to change. Like my usual formation is 4-3-3, so I had to change it up in these games. I was adamant, I'm gonna stick to it. But I was like, you know what, I actually do have to change it. I have to change, and I have to change for these games. I have to change my tactics and my strategy. Whereas FIFA, you don't feel like it really matters.
Nah.
Go on. Sorry, I've been like waxing lyrical about the gameplay here. Go on, you talk a bit about it because I know you enjoy.
Yeah, this year for me, PES 2016. Like in previous years, I've had issues with the game. I've not really sort of enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it at the start, but then it sort of gradually sort of become a bit stale for me. But this year, phenomenal. Yeah. The one thing that sort of just straight away stands out for me is just how responsive it is and how much
fluid.
Yep. Yeah, like you feel like you are in control of what you want to do and how you want to play. And the most important thing for me, more than anything out there, is it just feels fun to play. It's just phenomenal. Some of the stuff you can put together on the pitch.
You have these moments where you just like get out of the chair, right?
Yeah. Unbelievable, yeah. And PES this year has nailed that. Football, there are moments in every game of football that you just get you off the edge of your seat, and PES has done that amazingly well this year. But yeah, it's got that. Like I play it sometimes. I say to myself, right, I'm just gonna have 1 or 2 games, and then that'll be it. And then next thing I know, I'm sort of 10 games in.
Yeah, I know what
it's just you just can't stop playing it. It's fantastic. It really is. And the future for PES after this is well.
Oh, if they balls out here now.
Yeah, exactly. But the sky is the limit if they carry on these improvements because from a gameplay side of things this year, yeah, phenomenal.
They're only using a certain percentage of Fox in it.
Which is scary.
There's still more to eke out of it. I think there's a combination of things why it's so that they nailed the physical aspect of football in PES this year. The physicality, I think it's a combination of things. More animations help. The improved collision system helps. All that comes together to create a nice, dynamic, flowing game of football.
Definitely.
There are issues with it, like we mentioned. Fouls. Sorry, I mentioned fouls is probably one of the biggest points.
Yeah.
It's less referees. I think it's just that the AI doesn't seem to.
Just doesn't make challenges.
Yeah, it doesn't really make challenges. Like I can probably count on 1 or 2 hands, like the amount of free kicks I've had throughout the time I've been playing it on retail code so far.
I've had 3, I think.
Yeah.
Free kicks, which is like crazy.
It's one of the points that are just like, there should be like the AI should be a bit more. Sometimes when you're playing certain teams, like I was playing AC Milan, and like De Jong is a notoriously dirty player. He was making a few challenges, and there was a few fouls in that game. But that's a rare occurrence rather than being the norm. Like there are, that fouls happen in games. Like players get yellow cards, players get red cards. It happens. It's a physical game like these days, especially the Premier League. It's a physical game. It's a high intensity physical game, which is a shame because the rest of the game is a realistic representation within the digital world of football. And this is kind of one aspect where it's let down a bit. The only other thing I would mention, we probably should mention it, in Master League when we're talking about the night games. There's only night games that really happen. That kind of lets it down. But yeah, I mean, there's a few niggles, but on the whole, it plays an enjoyable game of football. And like you said, you can play how you want, and you feel in control. And there's some wonderful moments that happen. Like you can, I think I talked about it in my review for Games Radar. I was like, I can just bring on Fellaini if I'm like struggling, and just if I want to lump the ball up, I can do that.
Yeah.
And it will work. it will work. You know, it's just like a different tactic. Whereas in FIFA, I don't feel I can do that. You know, it's just like, yeah, it's in gameplay. It's there's only one clear winner for me, um,
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
and that's PES 2016. So gameplay is a huge part, as you mentioned at the start. That's why 60 of the 100 points go to gameplay. So 60. So we're giving our gameplay to PES 2016, right? Unless I'm
Yeah,
mistaken. Yeah,
definitely.
we're giving it
Yeah,
to PES
yeah, without a
2016.
doubt.
So that's 60 points to PES 2016. So that FIFA had 40. So overall winner is PES 2016, 60 to 40, and I think that's
Yep.
fair. I think that's fair
Yeah.
from what we feel. I guess people will probably disagree and probably like label us in the comments as being PES fanboys and this and that. But this is our opinion. If we're happy to discuss. If you want to discuss in
Yeah.
the comments as the adults, happy to do that.
Yeah. This is our personal opinion, not
Yeah,
not as a general sort of everyone sort of opinion. This
yeah.
is
We're not
our
speaking for
opinion.
everyone. We're not speaking for everyone. But although
Yeah.
there seems to be a lot of positivity out there for PES 2016, generally critics seem to agree that this is the football game of choice.
Yeah.
And it's like every year there's someone saying it's back, it's back. You
And
know,
this year, yeah.
it was back last year. To be fair, this year it's there. It's actually
Yeah.
there now. It's here. It's there. People are taking notice. It's the game. There are areas, as you mentioned, visually and all that sort of stuff, where it needs to improve and online stuff like that. But
Yeah.
gameplay, you still can't ignore the fact that it just plays a great game of football.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Okay,
100%.
so that is our FIFA 16 versus PES 2016 video feature. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it. PES 2016 is our winner, 60 points to 40 out of 100. Gary, thank you for joining me.
No worries. Anytime, dude.
Pleasure. See you guys.
Cheers, guys.